What's going on, everybody? Just as the sun has risen, so should your mind and your heart. Above all things, have courage. Courage is needed in times such as this. Good morning. It is early in the morning, and we're here on day number 20 of our 30-day journey with vulnerability. And again, this journey has definitely been a journey where we have seen vulnerability through many different lenses. And the analogy of a lens has to do with like glasses, wearing glasses, and depending on your prescription will determine how well you see. And we're using the lens of vulnerability. Well, and as we view vulnerability, we're using different lenses to see which one really helps us see vulnerability in the ways that are impactful enough for there to be awareness and real change within ourselves, right? So as we pursue the last 10 days of this journey together, I really wanted to do a personal commitment with myself, as well as it was laid definitely on my heart and my soul to stretch out and to push myself in these last 10 days. In these last 10 days, the challenge that I'm committing to in terms of internal growth, development, without impacting other things in my life, is that I'm going to do two sessions a day, right? 2 sessions a day. And when I was in high school, my mom signed me up for cross country. She said it would help me in basketball because basketball was my A1 sport. Basketball, baseball, and football, really. But basketball was my A1 sport. And she said, you know what, baby, in order for you to be good, you need to have stamina. And in order for you to outlast everybody on the court, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign you up for cross country, and it's going to help you with your breathing, your techniques, and your stamina. And the first thing that the first thing that impacted me the most was the shorts they wore, right? So the shorts were like, they were super, super short. They were really, really short, right? And back then, back for me, it was about style, and that wasn't stylish. And my mom could probably contest right now. My first meet, when they gave us our uniform, my shorts were shorter than my boxers. So on that particular day of that meet, that I ran the meet, and actually I performed really well. I got a 5th place my first time. But the newspaper, the media was out there and took a picture and put it in the newspaper and had me running, but you could see my boxers, right, because they were so long compared to my shorts. And for me, I was like, man, that messing up my style, my image. But it's interesting though, because there's so many things in life that we're more concerned about our image, right? This thing that we project that other people see, and we don't really focus on the development piece of it. And that's what vulnerability gives us accessibility to, is to be really honest and transparent and be present in all these different stages of awareness. But really, the truth is, when you're vulnerable, you need to protect what's on the inside first before you try to assess what's on the outside. And oftentimes I think we have that backwards. So today we're going to be talking about when keeping it real goes wrong or right. And even within that conversation, there's 2 options, and there's always choices. It's just a matter of what you're aware of, right? And the better you get with understanding yourself and really paying attention, that's the key. Paying attention to yourself, you'll start to see the pattern before it starts within you. And it's interesting because I've started to see the pattern emotionally, my emotional self. I've seen things start before it actually gets to the point of what I'm used to. And I guess if I can really make it more specific, there's certain habits that I've adopted since childhood or since a younger adult, and I hadn't really paid much attention to it because life just keeps moving, and it's just always about this constant worry, stress, and whatever. And so I've again been really being committed to my own self-awareness, and I'm starting to see times where I'm more introverted, if you will, or times where I have a lot more anxiety, things like that, right? Before it gets to the peaking point, I can start to see the patterns before it hits. And it gives me this control, if you will, to make these proper adjustments, establish different thoughts, look for different resources, or just have compassion on myself. Remember that word compassion, I used to suffer with, and just really be involved with my own self in that process. So I'm really excited about that, right? So today, again, we're talking about when keeping it real goes wrong or right, assuming there's choices. So this is a short message, but I really want you to ask yourself this: are you keeping it real? Like, that's a term that we hear in a lot of our cultural aspects in life, where keeping it real, which means like be real, right? Be your authentic self. And it's even bled into cultures as it relates to bravado. Some men and some people and some youth too. And it doesn't necessarily be youth, anybody. When you hear that term, keeping it real, Oftentimes it relates to this person's disposition. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. This is who I am, right? This pride and proudness of our image. And really, I'm not talking about that. I'm not really talking about your image, what other people see you as. We're talking about what you see you as. And this is a really opportunity for you to be honest with yourself in this moment, right? So when keeping it real, when keeping it authentic, when being your authentic self goes wrong or right, and there's always choices, that wrong and that right? So the first concept I want you to think of when keeping it real or keeping it authentic is embracing the real you, right? Embracing the real you. That's the first step. It's important for you to accept who you are, because if you don't embrace you, then when you are interacting with other people or when you get into different situations, it's easier for you to lose yourself because you're not embracing who you are. You're not. It's no different than a child, right, going to Disneyland. And imagine two situations. The first situation is where the child is not really embraced by the parent, and when they go to Disneyland, it's a bunch of people outside, and so the child gets lost. And because that a relationship between him and the parent isn't strong or isn't kept, that child really doesn't really know where they're at, and it's a bunch of stuff going on. So the child gets overwhelmed, anxious, all these different strong emotions start to appear, right? Versus the situation where the child's embraced by the parents, they're looked after, and they're kept, right? And they're gonna be, even though there's a lot going on, the child feels comfortable, at peace, at rest, confident, because they're embraced by the parent. So today, embrace yourself, your worst self, your best self, and let me slow down, because that seems like a split personality type perspective. When it comes to self, you're truly you. You're authentic. It's just there's certain behaviors that you may be exhibiting right now from a pattern standpoint, right, or a habit standpoint. So embrace all of that, because once you embrace that and accept you within yourself, and you say, no matter what I do today, no matter what I've done in the past, I'm going to accept me. The next step is to assess the real you. So now that you have captured and you have this space where you're accepting everything you do, taking responsibility, this embracement perspective, assess it, observe yourself, pay attention to yourself. And it's interesting because there's a short story that I can think of as relates to a child who was pushed off for many years. So this child is 10 years old, and he's been to 6 different schools, and every school he's gone to, the teacher would call the parent and say, your child is ridiculous, they have a learning disability, they don't pay, they're everywhere, he has a hard time learning, he can't read, when he does read in class, he's stuttering, he gets frustrated, he gets angry. Every single school, 6 schools, the same response from every single teacher, until he went to a 7th school. And the parents were expecting to hear a bad message. They were 2 weeks in, but they hadn't heard anything. 3 weeks in, haven't heard anything. 3 months in, haven't heard anything. They say, you know what? It's time to go to school to see exactly what's going on. And then also noticed the child's behavior changing. And so it was a parent-teacher conference, and the parent sat down across from the teacher, and the teacher looked at the parent in the eye. And the parent asked that difficult question. So I'm expecting for you to tell me that my child has a learning disability. He's not retaining information. He's not able to learn. He's having a difficult time. The teacher says, no, it's not it. There's nothing wrong with his learning. I quickly identified, this is the teacher speaking, I quickly identified, it's not that your child can't learn or retain, it's just that he's not paying attention. And nobody's taking the time to help him pay attention. You see, paying attention allows you to learn. What you pay attention to typically is what you draw in. What you pay attention to is typically what you focus on. The word focus means to center your interest. So if you're paying attention, that means your attention is there. Your observation is there. Observe yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to your nervous system. Pay attention to your body. Take care of it. Assess it. Spend time with it, like a relationship, right? And then once you, again, embrace yourself, take responsibility of yourself, assess yourself, last step is expect the real you. So this is the key. The assessment gives you opportunities to identify parts of you. The expectation of you being real is, now that you know all these different components and you know what right should look like, expect it every time. Set that standard for yourself, right? Have that standard and expectation that no matter what, you're gonna be you. You're gonna be authentic you today. I'm going to be my authentic you, me today. I'm not gonna run away from it. I'm gonna be me. I want you guys to stay blessed today. Again, this is part 1 of the session today. Later on, it's going to be part 2. Hope you guys continue to maintain a sense of realizing that vulnerability is an important discussion for you to have within yourself, but also to share with other people. It's real, right? Let's not hide from things anymore, because no matter if you're present or not, you're still going to have the opportunity to be vulnerable.